Greetings, good people. It's your brother teacher Ajamu Kafele, and I'm coming to you today with a full review of the Black Panther movie, and particularly focused on its destructive images to the black man in general, the black man in America in particular. In this review, I want to just say a few things to set the tone. I'm not delving into the positive elements that are in this movie. There's plenty of that to go around. That's not something that we need to be conscious of. In particular, the imagery of the strong black women that are in the movie in the leadership roles, which we do see a lot in Hollywood and movies and sitcoms. The black woman is elevated and looks good and is playing great roles. This review is to focus on what we don't see when we see the movie. Okay. And I would just sum it up as this, is that as much as we want to feel good about the Black Panther movie, and there's kind of this thing of, hey, some black people helped direct it and this movie and did some of the writing, you know, that if you say something bad, you're kind of putting them down. So we want to be proud of this. And I'm certainly am proud of those brothers that have been able to get through and accomplish some things in Hollywood. But it doesn't take away from the actual facts of the Hollywood agenda, which is in full support of the racism, white supremacy agenda system, which has as its root the destruction of the black man in America in particular. As far as that goes, you just can't have two men in the same house. And so there's a conflict there amongst a whole history of other things. And so we have to be very careful to not allow our feelings to subjugate the actual facts. And we do this in so many things because we live in a society that teaches us that however you feel is a viable truth. And true, your feelings are true feelings, but your feelings can be can be created as well. And so either way, it doesn't diminish the fact. So I'm sure all of us won't agree with this review. But it's the review that we need to see, we need to understand. And praise be to Allah, God Supreme, for allowing me to be able to see these things, as certainly others, and to be able to point them out and bring them to you. So don't be mad if you're a black woman, okay, at me because I didn't highlight, the black men. Don't be mad at me if, there's some cultural things that were in the movie and supposedly black people are getting engaged. I don't really know what productive element has come out of this movie, although I will say that they plan a plan and Allah plans a plan, and surely Allah is the best of planners. But there are some imagery and things in this movie that personally has made this the best, worst movie for black people and the black man in particular. And at the end of the review, I explain exactly what I mean by that. But now I present to you the documented proof from images of this movie showing you these destructive black images of the black man in Black Panther. See you at the end. Alrighty, let's jump into this review. First of all, here's a scene from when the movie first starts, and it talks about the warring that is always taking place in Africa until the Panther was revealed and all of that stuff. So here you have a scene that basically is saying that black people have been warring against each other forever, since the beginning of time. Basically, they've been very destructive and had nothing going on prior to the meteor coming and the revelation that empowered the Black Panther, which, of course, is far from the truth of the actual facts of history. Next, we have the movie opens up with a scene of black men in America planning to commit a robbery with assault rifle machine guns. All right. So you're giving that image. The thing about this is that we find out later this is one of the spy agents of Wakanda. So this guy, you would assume, would already have access to resources or whatever he needs, because he's supposed to be operating as a spy on the behalf of Wakanda. But yet he's planning a robbery, right? This robbery planning had absolutely no purpose, no value to the movie whatsoever, other than to project an image of black men committing crimes. One of my biggest things is that there is a huge lack of male camaraderie, black male camaraderie and bonding and brotherhood in this movie, almost to the point of none, or when it does occur, is very little. So we'll be talking about that. And so here's the scene where the brother that was the agent gets mad because he finds out the guy he thought was his best friend and buddy, that he stated that he trusted with his life, had lied to him. So you have a betrayal between two black men that happens right here. This scene here is when the sister, head of the army, comes down and assists the Black Panther in killing one of the last refugees. So again, another scene of black men. Of course, black men are engaged in destructive things in Africa as well, with the kidnap of women and all of that. So it has its place. But I thought what was very interesting about this scene is we're supposed to have this Black Panther, very strong individual who can handle his own. It really wasn't any reason why he couldn't have handled his one last person. But here, the sister, who was given orders not to, mind you, she was given orders not to come and assist him, right? And so then she shows up and basically demeans him for freezing, but yet he could have easily taken out this guy. So it brings her to the scene unnecessarily, and again shows the Black Panther in a weakened status. This is a scene that occurred when he returned to Wakanda, and him and his sister, T'Challa, and his sister, Shuri, I believe his name, gets into it. And right from the beginning, what is happening in this scene, even though it's comical, which again is one of the things that happen, is comical, we receive it very well and don't detect the things that are going on. She starts to mock him as a leader in the movie. And you could say brother sibling thing, but this is a movie where this is a black man, royalty, superhero, all of these type of things. All throughout the movie, she mocks him, and if you pay attention, she never addressed him as king in the movie. Never addressed him in an honorable way, really in the movie. Even in the fight scene, when he was being challenged the first time, she started making jokes there. So again, it seems very comical in the movie. My point is that she basically is mocking him as a man, black man of authority, and not being better than her, really, in a lot of ways. Now, here we have a scene that really says a lot, especially as Killmonger's role is played out in this movie. But you can really look at this scene that conveniently places a white woman up against the black man, who is Killmonger, so who's the number one villain for some reason in this movie. And so you can look at this as a thing where it's saying that the black man is a threat to the white woman. Basically, he poisoned her in this movie, or, it's certainly given the impression of that. He's demeaning her in terms of her knowledge that she has about the artifacts, as far as that goes. And then he goes on to basically say to her, to hell with you, because your ancestors, were destroyed and enslaved my people. So it's a scene that basically is saying the black man is a threat to the white woman. I'll put this scene in here because this was the first time that Claw actually called Killmonger boy in the movie, right? And of course, Claw is made to be like the bad white guy, like the KKK member. In the movie, he's calling the people of Wakanda savages. So he's being given to you as that role of the bad white guy, right? And then later on, Agent Ross is the good white guy. It's kind of like that bad cop, good cop crap. Next, we get into a scene of the challenge here, and so again, real short. You have a brother shows up in the mask, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And you have black men fighting, right? So no one else is challenging, but here's this brother coming challenging, and his whole basis of challenge is tradition versus new age, right? Traditional black man, black thought, black way, keeping honor of the tradition versus the new age technological black intellectual guy, right? That's the essence of what's in this scene. Now here we have what appears to be a bonding situation going on, and it is at this moment, but we know what happened later on. So we got the black man and his father together, and I loved you, and it was a great leader, and all of that is what you have in this scene. So we appear to have this black male bonding, which we'll talk about later when it was shattered. Here, one of the glaring things that really stood out in this movie was one of the first things I caught in terms of the black male-female relationship was this was his ex-girlfriend, okay? And that they were in conflict with each other, right? She loved Wakanda, loved him, but was at odds because, again, they didn't want to help. So she's doing spy work in America, throughout the country or other worlds, and really in opposition to Wakanda, in opposition to the leader. And she even says, look, I just came back out of respect for your father, and respect for you in your position, but, I ain't really down with what the king and Wakanda is about, because you won't help our people, out here that are suffering, right? So she's really a compliment to Killmonger, but in a softer way, right? In a softer way. So, but you basically had very little black male-female relationship bonding in the movie. There's a couple scenes, but you have more of a standout of black male female conflict in the movie. And we know the situation with a lot of black male female relationships and issues with ex-girlfriends, right? So, and you also have to note in this movie he never actually got married. He's a single king, right? Just, but yet the father was married. It's just, the whole black male female relationship thing was really also played down in this movie as well. Now, this is going to blow your mind. Wakanda, when they come in, you in this with the spaceship, you you oversee this supposedly big, elaborate, technological place city. But if you really look at the movie, you never actually saw, other than in the lab, there was in places in the lab, you never actually saw this advanced city. They gave you the railway, right? It's no big deal, okay? But you never really saw the advances in the city amongst the people. So here they're giving you a shot reinforcing the Africa hut scenario, right? That we get in mass media and education about Africa and people living in huts. So they do this big wide shot, even when they're coming in on the spaceship. When they're flying in, you got the herds, running in the grass and all that. So here, when they're getting ready to go to the scene of him and the brother, you basically have a scene that is basically giving you a view of kind of a view of Africa, of Wakanda, right, in the larger scheme of things, and it's showing you huts, not even like some technological advanced huts, just some pretty huts, right? You never actually saw an elaborate internal aspect of Wakanda, say in contrast to when you looked at the movie Iron Man, and inside of Tony's house, this whole elaborate place and all of that, and you saw some of the designs and the layout. You didn't see that in this movie. Here's another scene where you appear to have black male bonding. These brothers were getting along. They were like best friends, and talking about relationship issues. But again, that was broken, as we saw later in the movie. Here's another scene where his sister Shuri basically belittled him, and now he's actually the king, right? Like, he's actually going through the ceremony. He's actually the king, but she actually belittles him in terms of showing him the ability of his costume. And so even though there's a scene before where he kicked it in Os's room, this throws him to the ground, not respecting him as a king, as the black man authority in this movie, even though it was comical. Here's the scene where they started fighting in the casino, and Black Panther here comes up on Claw, and Claw runs out of bullets and eventually pulls out his gun. I thought this was funny because he's supposed to be Black Panther with this speed and agility and instinct, and yet Claw gets the drop on him. didn't make any sense. Now here's the scene after they've captured Claw, right? Which even in the scene of capturing Claw, before that, they didn't allow Black Panther to kill Claw, right? And of course, that was part of the theme of the movie. But the point is, he didn't get to really kill the main bad white guy, right? But here's a very important scene, because Agent Ross, who now turns into the hero lifesaver of the ex-girlfriend of T'Challa. So this brings him into being a friend, right? And starts an affinity for Agent Ross, right? Which there was none before, right? So he saves her life, right? Interesting. Now, of course, the Black Panther had jumped on the grenade and saved everybody. But this scene really set the tone to make the government of the U.S. a friend of Wakanda, which the government is not a friend of black people anywhere. Now, this scene here, was after he saw the necklace with the ring on it on Killmonger, but didn't know who he was. And so the head of the army sister comes out, and if you watch this part in the movie, and the reason I brought this scene, she looks at him and speaks to him in disgust, like you need to get back and check on your woman. It's like what are you doing? So it was a subliminal thing of saying, what are you doing, black man? You need to, you're not handling your business, you know, and not in so much of a loving way or facial that was in the movie. It was like, what are you doing? You're out of your mind, when he's thinking about, he's actually engaged in processing who is this guy that basically came along and tried to kill us, and he's from Wakanda. So after Ross took a bullet for Sister Spy, I apologize for the names, he's now, here's the thing where, here's a scene where the three of them, she's not in the scene to the left, are in dispute. Again, no black, male, female, true bonding, right? But they're in dispute of bringing this white man, especially a government agent, to Wakanda, all right? And he gets soft and says, well, you know, we can't just leave him there, and all of that. And even there was the scene before that when he got shot where the Sister Spy was like, we need to do something. We can't leave him here. He saved my life, right? He took a bullet for me, right? So, you know, so you might think that's good. We've taken a lot of bullets for them. So, but the point is here, Black Panther is bowing down to help this white guy as a good white guy when they wouldn't help black people, right? Wouldn't help black people. And then also he was supposedly had a strong stance on tradition and our way. So why would he all of a sudden want to invite a white guy in here just to save his life? It doesn't make any sense, other than what's happening here in this whole thing with the agent is making the government a friend of Wakanda, making the CIA, FBI, whoever else, a friend of black people. Here's basically the scene where the brother comes and find out he didn't kill Claw, he didn't bring Claw back, basically brought a government agent back to save his life, didn't bring their enemy of Wakanda back. And basically this is a destruction of the black male bonding that they had. Here's another scene of a lack of black male female bonding or showing conflict. Here you would think that Killmonger is going to, you know, save his girlfriend, right? She's been helping him out. She's been his comrade in all of these things. She's actually apologizing, saying sorry, you know, in this scene, thinking Claw is going to kill her. But no, Killmonger shoots her. So again, we have black male female violence upon each other in this scene here that is played out. Here is the scene right after or right before Killmonger kills Claw, and revealing that he was one of them. One of the things that Claw said in this scene was, "Oh, to think I thought you were a crazy American," right? And so basically identifying that black man as American as, oh, he's a crazy American if you go along with what we're about, what we're doing. Now here's the scene after Shuri has healed the government agent, okay? And remember when he first came in, when they first brought him in, she said, "Oh, good, another white boy for us to heal." Okay, so kind of putting down the white guy. Then when he woke up, comes in the scene and he comes in and he surprises her And she says, "Don't scare me like that, colonizer." Again, demeaning the white guy. Okay? But she says, "Don't touch anything. My brother will be here soon." But then he basically subtly befriends her, and she starts running off at the mouth about all of this technology and the vibranium and all of what they're doing to the government spy. Right. So, but what's happening is there is a bonding and a friendship is happening between the white man and the black woman here in this scene that basically you didn't see strongly in the movie between the black man and the black woman. So they basically, this is where he becomes friends. And later on in the movie, when he was getting in the plane, she actually addressed him as Agent Ross. So she went from white boy colonizer to respecting his title because he became a companion, ally, and friend of Wakanda, which again makes absolutely no sense. This scene right here is very, very important because it sets the tone of the whole movie. Okay, now pay attention real closely right here. Because this scene is probably one of the most destructive, subliminal, subconscious scenes in the movie. You have Killmonger, which I couldn't stand the name because it sounds like Killer Among Us. Notice in the movie, he's in basically some type of armored suit. Basically, he's in armored gear or revolutionary gear in the movie. He's the only one in this type of vest or suit of being in war. He's the only one in the movie like that, right? In terms of the black males. So he's in this vest the whole time. He's got his hair braided. A lot of brothers wearing the braids, the beard. I mean, he's got the whole look down. Then they put him on the big screen. And they have this picture of the globe here. And what this is saying is that, ladies and gentlemen, here is the global threat to the white supremacy agenda system. The American black man with a revolutionary mindset. He wants to kill us all. This is the only reason, and you might be looking and saying, well, I don't know, but why is this map of the world here, except to play off in a subliminal way that this is a global threat. This is a global threat that is going on with this black man, with the black man of America. Okay, here's a scene where after Killmonger came in and he's addressing T'Challa and about to challenge him. And T'Challa had went up to him. Now T'Challa's king, right? Everybody should be honoring, respect him, don't really speak out of turn. And he, here's a enemy here's an outsider in Wakanda. And so here's a brother. Again, the black male camaraderie and bonding in this movie. Eric Killmonger is saying, ask me who I am, ask me who I am. Tell it, and T'Challa won't do it. So then the brother all of a sudden no other serious role in the movie, shouts out, who are you? So he does that in disrespect to the king. Because if the king didn't do it, you have no business opening up your mouth. So another scene of black money. And again, I know some of this stuff is theater and it fits the theme of the movie. I am just pointing out to you the images of destructive to black men in particular, and the black American male in general, in this movie. Here you have Eric Killmonger kill an elder. So, and before that, remember, he bare his chest of all the kills he had done. I mean, this guy, Eric Killmonger, is literally has nothing reflecting the fact that he was an intelligent guy, went to MIT. None of that was shown. Everything was shown about him being a killer, him being a murderer, and that he will kill any and every body. Okay, he will kill any and every body, which is not actually true. He was just only opposed to those who were opposed to using the resources of Wakanda to rule the world, actually, justly, in the way that Wakanda was. That's what he was really about. He wasn't. He was about, hey, let Wakanda be the leader. Let Wakanda show them the way. Okay, now he had a dispute with them in terms of killing his dad. He didn't really know the whole story there, but this just shows him killing the other. So again, black on black male bonding. This is actually the movie. This is actually the scene where sister that's head of the army and sister that's the spy, bonding, right, getting along, even in the midst of chaos, and even though the sister's like, hey, the spy sister is like, hey, we're going out here and we're going to try to take down Eric Killmonger, right? And the sister that's head of the army is like, well, hey, I'm loyal to Wakanda, whoever's the king. But they don't get into a beef with each other, right? They don't get into a fight. Like, like if she is head of the army and she's really loyal to Wakanda, and she hears that the spy is threatening to overthrow the king, her duty is to prevent that from happening, right? So they're getting along fine in the movie. They was in the car scene together. They was fighting. I mean, the black women camaraderie, which is why one of the reasons black women love the movie. Their leadership role was great in this movie. That's not an issue. Here's a scene very destructive, because this is after Eric Killmonger had became king, went through the ritual ceremony and goes back and gets to see his father. And in this scene, his father said, "No tears for me," and he basically was like, "No, that's just, everybody dies around here. That ain't no big deal. You just whatever." But yet, part of the reason Killmonger is supposedly fighting is that the one thing that he truly loved was taken from him, which was his father. But yet they show no black male fatherhood in this movie. The black man and his father having a good relationship in this movie. So again, another attack on a black American man, the black male in general. And this was a scene with him crying, basically as if it's all his fault. Here you have the scene where Eric is king and he wants to go out and use weapons to empower the revolutionaries, right? He wants to empower specific people, revolutionaries, to overthrow the colonization and white supremacy agenda. That's what he's about, right? He's not really this bad villain, right? It's his tactic, okay? And we have this among us today. Some of us are, want to be passive aggressive, and maybe we can vote our way out of it, and maybe we can, sing our way out of it. Maybe we can just talk and have conferences with these rulers of wickedness, and they'll come to some understanding, which hasn't happened. So that's the conflict in the movie of T'Challa and Killmonger. Okay, but in this scene, which I couldn't get the brother and his wife, who's the head of the army, actually are get in disagreement with each other. So again, no black male female true bonding, or where there was a little bit of it, it really wasn't shined on. But what you did have a shine on was black men against black women in this movie. And again, I know all the characters are black, whatever. I'm just telling you what was happening and what you saw. This scene, which spins off of the first challenge to T'Challa by the brothers, and you got these black men who they're not barking, they're huffing or what, woofing but not like a wolf, like a gorilla. Just to go back and show you, he's big, like big gorilla, and he had the mask on. So they're making the black man to look like the ape, right? From the mountains and all this kind of stuff. And I even read an article that was talking about how the movie glorified the ape man. Look, Hollywood has an agenda to keep us looking down on Black Africa, to keep black people from uniting, and has a fear, rulers of wickedness has a fear of the black man that was enslaved, that numbers in the tens of millions, 10 million plus, 20 million, rising up in opposition because they never properly took amends for that enslavement. So this is the biggest threat. But so here you have an imagery basically of us as an ape. Really a demeaning thing for people to be of Wakanda, of great technology. This is where you got to understand it. And it's a mean, killer looking face, right? Now this is after you have the scene where T'Challa goes back after he's basically going through his resurrection, as I call it. And he goes back, and what we thought was a bonding of the black man with the black father, he basically goes and chastises the father, dishonors the relationship as lying to me, and as him and his father as not being a good king. Because later on he sat down with his ex, talking about his father wasn't a good king, and basically saying I just loved him, I used to look up to him, but he was no good. And he basically and what happened in this movie is it basically said that the black African is responsible for the creation of the black man in America situation. This is what's happening in the movie. This is what is happening in the movie. Okay, Wakanda, you won't come help the black man in America. You got all this technology. Even in the first scene, when the brother that was a spy got killed, he's saying they're oppressed, they're over policed, they're in jail, all of that. Wakanda would not come help, and we knew you wouldn't approve of it. So this thing is setting this whole tone that it ain't the white man who colonized and did all this structure. It's not his fault. It's actually you, the black man outside of America, in Africa. It's your fault that you have this so-called crazed black man in America. And so therefore, from a white rulers of wickedness perspective, you, the black African, need to solve this problem because you created it. And he was sitting with his girlfriend on the mountaintop saying that I think that my father has created something worse, and it's not his fault. And then the movie is going through there and saying there's several lines where it's saying that Killmonger, you become one of them. You become one of them. Meaning he become one of the colonizers, one of the wicked ones of America. And that is absolutely not who Killmonger was or was about at all. But that's the subliminal message and subconscious things that are being projected into the minds of us watching this movie that don't catch that. Some people got mad at me because I thought the Black Panther was a relatively weak character. And I say that in comparison to all of the superhero movies that have come out. Batman, Superman, Iron Man, you name it. Man, them cats was kicking butts, taking names like crazy. And here you have, again, the beautiful sister empowered. They basically, in the first fight, they basically nearly captured Killmonger and subdued him. And if it wasn't for him having on the Black Panther outfit, they would have. Black Panther is supposed to be the most powerful, strong black man, fierce fighter in the movie. But in this whole movie, I got the whole thing that this sister right here was the baddest warrior in the movie. And even there was a line about her being the baddest warrior soldier in the movie, not the Black Panther. There was scene after scene that just didn't put the Black Panther in that power superhero position against the top enemy. They had him about to kill Claw, and and he didn't even kill Claw in that situation. That was about it. This scene here is where the white guy becomes the hero that saves the world. Excuse me, not just the white guy, the CIA government agent of the United States becomes the hero that saves the world. The Black Panther didn't save the world. It was a white guy. And it wasn't very many white people in the movie. So some people got mad when I said that because they put, he all of a sudden knew how to fly helicopters. So they put together a helicopter and he now gets in and he's got to go shoot down the helicopters while black folks fight amongst themselves. Okay. So while black people are fighting amongst themselves, okay, about basically what type of revolutionary tactics and strategies should be used to help the black men of America. That's what the fight is basically about. Okay. And the use of those resources in Africa. The white man is going to save white America from being colonized. Is going to save it from the revolutionaries against white colonization. And Wakanda is going to aid him by him getting in the helicopter. He goes and shoots down all the planes, but before he shoots them all down, oh, look how this white guy became the superhero. They trying to attack him. Remember, the thing was shooting the glass and trying to shut this down. And so it takes him to that scene and he's like, well, it's like you got 50% capacity left. He says, okay, well, take me back in. I'm going to be your superhero. Take me back in. I've got time. I'm not quitting. Okay. And he goes back in. And in the last move, he kamikaze style. That's hero. That's like hero moves, right? He kamikaze style, the last plane that could have got the vibranium out to some of the revolutionaries. Here's just another scene of a lack of black male-female relationship bonding in this movie. As a matter of fact, this brother, who was a leader, who not only betrayed the king, then has to bow down to his woman, okay, in such a demeaning and defeatist status, right? I mean, that's what you got in the movie. That's what you got in the movie. Black men submit to the leadership of your black woman. And while we should have equal relationships and respect each other, I'm talking specifically how this movie, which people got offended, elevated the black woman who should be elevated, who needs to be made equally strong. Is a strong black woman. She's made to be a strong black woman, but the black man is made to be weak and submissive or killer something. He's not giving truly an honorable position in this movie. And even the kings were weak. Even the kings of Wakanda were weak relative to the roles that the black women had in this movie. And so when I stated that this movie raised the black women at the expense of the black man, I'm not putting the black woman down. She got her just due. I'm saying that black woman, your elevation in this white supremacy society, what are you actually elevating? Because as you rise up in corporate world and all of these things, you're only a strong black woman over your black man. You're not stronger than the white man, and the white woman ain't gonna have it. So you're not even really stronger than the white woman. So that only leaves one other person to be a strong black woman over. It's the black man. So you must make sure if you're a strong black woman that you don't engage in those things that subjugate your black man, or you'll be like a lot of black women out here. You a lonely black woman wanting a black man, but you can't find one of equal status. And again, very submissive, bow down, or I'll kill you image here of the black man and the black woman, black male-female relationships. Then here at the end, you have the spaceship comes into the scene, and brothers are out here playing basketball, which brings up the point that the only thing that the American black men were doing was robbing, killing, playing basketball, sports, and games. And so the spaceship comes on the scene. They're somewhat shocked that they saw it, but then they think we can keep it, strip it down, sell it. There's not an awe of like, what the heck is this coming out of the sky? Oh my God, what's going on? No, maybe we can strip this down and sell it. This is the imagery of showing in the mindset of black men, while at the same time they're talking about, well, we're going to buy these buildings around here and we're going to educate them technology wise. But then they're thinking about they got black males thinking about stealing, selling it, scrapping it, and things of that nature. So again, another downplayed image of the black man from boy to manhood. And let me insert this in here before I do the main closeout of the movie where Killmonger was killed and the sun was setting. I'm watching the movie again, and this is the very ending scene with T'Challa on the left and the sister spy, as I called her, on the right. And he's, talking to her, trying again to convince her to stay, be my woman, type of thing. I saw this in the background. Now, this is Wakanda, highly technical, advanced, supposed to be, society, country, what have you, right? And now think about this. As I mentioned before, when they were showing scenes inside of the city or country of Wakanda, they basically had these like marketplace booths that they were showing us, right? Again, no interior beauty was seen in Wakanda. You saw some nice huts. So in this scene here, ladies and gentlemen, what you're looking at right here is graffiti. This is graffiti. What the heck is graffiti doing in Wakanda? I mean, when you say, like, this is graffiti, I was like, what? And it's sitting in a subliminal, subconscious way that unless you're watching the movie again and look, you don't even catch it. So basically, black male-female relationship, trying to work it out, but really at odds with the ex. And then you got this subliminal message of graffiti in your mind, which is a negative. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the movie Wakanda. And let's close it out by talking about the destruction of the black man in America, the revolutionary black man in America. And last but not least, we have Killmonger seeing the sunset. I want you to take this scene and compare it to this other scene. When you're looking at the sunset scene, what you're basically seeing is the destruction, or having been destroyed, the black American revolutionary minded man who is a global threat to white colonization, white supremacy. This is what you see, and the white man got the black man of Africa to do it because he blamed the black man of Africa as the reason for why this black man in America was supposedly crazy, supposedly just like them. He sees the sunset, and it is his demise. And the line that really speaks to that we also honored, where he says, hey, maybe we can heal you. He says, are you crazy? Heal me so I can be in prison? Right? No. Make sure you bury me in the ocean like my ancestors that understood that death was better than bondage. So, in other words, the black man of America wants to die. He'd rather die than be in bondage in America. And while there may be some truth to that, the reality is that we black men of America want freedom, justice, and equality by any means necessary. And if death has to occur to manifest truth, justice, freedom, and equality, then we're all down for that. But we're not here to die so that racism, white supremacy, injustice, lies, thievery of the colonization by the Caucasian can continue. But yet, at the end of this movie, what has happened is that the black man of America is killed. The black man of Africa has befriended the American government, the wicked rulers, the rulers of wickedness, and now they can work together. And then they go to Oakland, and instead of you being revolutionary, why don't we just buy up a couple buildings, set up a couple technology centers and things like that, and let's raise up this black man, through maybe education and things like that, and help him get along according to what is comfortable to white America. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what you have in the movie of Black Panther. Yes, there are positives and things in that nature. I am, as I stated, not addressing that. I'm addressing what most of us didn't see or refuse to see over feelings over facts that are in this movie here, and why I must conclude that it is the best, worst movie for black people and the black man in particular. And the reason it's the best because they did Hollywood, not the brothers who wrote the movie. I'm sure they try to do the best they can, but the execs of Hollywood and Hollywood agenda does not take a break. And it's the best, worst movie because they did the best job of basically hoarding in a mass of black people to set off a bomb to destroy us in the mind. And most of us do not understand why we can leave this movie and still engage in the same destructive behavior, because it was again programmed into our minds. And I showed you the proof of that in this review. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for reviewing the video and the full review. Tried to make it as short as possible and actually just left out a lot of things and not being able to use the actual video footage really to bring some of the things to light. But if you watch the movie again, or if you recall some of the things you've seen, it's literally right there. I'm showing you what's in the movie. You may differ with some perspectives, and I understand that some of it is theater. It goes along with the theme, but we have to remember one thing: we're conditioned to expect certain things out of movies, and so we've been seeing this bad guy, good guy, villain movie. So even though it's all black people in the movie, we expect the same thing, and this is how we judge whether or not a movie is good. As far as that goes, it just, so some of it is obviously going to be played out because it's all black characters in this movie. But there are some themes and underlines and overlines and messages in this movie that simply could not be ignored. They needed to be pointed out. And I hope that from here going forward, as you watch movies and watch TV, that you become more conscious of what you're watching, what you're seeing, when you see it, and that you vet it out after seeing it. This is why I try to always encourage people to minimize your television program watching, these sitcoms and things of that nature, because when you watch those things repeatedly, they are putting images and projections into your mind that you adopt that come out to the behavior. When you put your children in front of these things, you can look up the whole science of subconscious and subliminal programming that happens. It's a real deal, ladies and gentlemen. We're being affected by it. And there's just no way that we could walk out of this Black Panther movie and, as much as we want to feel good, actually say it is a good movie, because it absolutely is not. This is your brother teacher. And as always, I love you if you're righteous. Can't stand you if you ain't. Till the next time, talk to you soon. Be sure to like my page, my new page, Brother Teacher. Talk to you soon.